Remember the cliff with the big bath?
Yeah, when you used to take us there when you were injured on a Sunday. So most Sundays.
Oh! It's going to be one of those interviews, is it?
Casper was wild,
Used to
wasn't
beat
he?
them all up.
Just used to beat us all up. Yeah, he was crazy.
He was down, the physio come on, I went, you better leave him alone, otherwise I'll come across and do it again.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside Carrington. Thank you for joining us as always. Liam to my left, rocking a new nice little retro shirt there, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. The new Originals range, it's very nice. Got a whole rail full of stuff over there.
You do? Is that for you to take home?
No, it's definitely staying here so we can use it for the podcast.
He's got to give that back straight after the podcast.
I've got to take it off and iron it, wash it, return it. No kit man
He
here.
did actually have a really clean ironed t-shirt a few weeks ago and I sat on top of it. That didn't go down too well. But so he does actually iron these things himself.
I do.
Well, it's very nice. Also available at the United store. Good week, Liam?
Yeah, decent, busy, but like I say, no complaints. When you work for this football club, my football club, every week is a good week. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Yeah.
Good week for me also.
Recovered from skiing?
I've recovered from skiing. Actually, do you know what? I've had a really sore finger. I think I've torn some ligaments when I said I came back unscathed, but still a little bit sore, but all good. Apart
Good.
from that, can't complain. We've been so fortunate over the last few weeks, haven't we, to have some incredible conversations with players at the club. And obviously you guys know what goes on the pitch and, you know, that's all very self-explanatory. But today is a little bit different, Liam. Because we've got two very, very special guests and we love hearing from the players. But personally, I'm really, really excited for this episode. Firstly, we have arguably our best captain ever joining us, Captain Marvel Bryan Robson, who was on the first original podcast, the first episode back in 2019. But also, we have Bryan's daughter, Claire, joining us,
Hi.
Who has been part of the United family. Well, there's two facets of that, isn't there? You've been part of the United family since Bryan was here, but also part of the United family since 2011.
11, yeah.
So for 15 years. So we are absolutely delighted to have you both because
Thank
this
you.
is a family club and you're both here together, which is really, really lovely. Claire is head of player support here at Carrington. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what goes on behind the scenes, literally on Inside Carrington. It's probably something a lot of people don't know about, Liam.
It's certainly something that I don't know about, so I'm fascinated to find out what you do and how you do it and why we do it. So all of that is going to be fascinating. And of course, I'm not even going to go with arguably, definitely Manchester United's greatest ever.
I know,
captain.
sorry, I shouldn't have said arguably. That was actually really rude. Sorry, Brian.
No.
I agree with you, Helen.
I usually always say our best ever captain. I don't know what came over me there. Thank you for joining us on the podcast again. How are you?
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Alongside your daughter?
Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit different.
Is this the first time you two have done a little bit of media together?
Yeah, first time.
Yeah.
First time I've done any media.
I know, Claire. But you've been in the media for years. I mean, you've been on the pitch for years when you were a little girl.
Yeah, true.
Tell us firstly, I suppose that's the most obvious place to start. What are your first memories of being the daughter of a Manchester United captain?
So we never actually really came to the games, if I'm totally honest. We were more into
place to
horse.
start.
Yeah, we were more into horse riding, weren't we? So we weren't at a lot of the games. We used
Certainly.
to go to a few.
I thought she'd actually answer that because her mother bought the two of them horses, but we said that they had to look after them themselves. So the three of them never come to a match.
We did come to some. Not all of them.
Semi-finals.
We like
and
to
cup
spend a lot
finals.
of time in the players' lounge.
You were the glory hunters then?
Yeah.
So you spent a lot of time in the players' lounge?
We did, yeah. That was fun with all the other players' kids. I remember that.
Yeah.
Remember a lot of the Christmas parties.
Yeah.
They were always good. Father Christmas and things like that. The little discos that we used to have.
Remember the cliff with the big bath?
Yeah, when you used to take us there when you were injured on a Sunday. So most Sundays we'd be in there.
Oh, it's going to be one of those interviews, is it?
Shots fired early doors.
But Claire, basically Manchester United is all you've ever known.
It is really, yeah. Yeah, so I was 2 when we first moved up here, wasn't I, from Birmingham when Dad first joined. Then what year did you leave? 96?
No,
Was it?
94.
94, and then obviously went to Middlesbrough there. So, and then Dad always came back as part of being global ambassador. And then I joined myself 15 years ago.
I absolutely love that though.
So forever, to be honest.
Yeah. But did you realise, obviously you said that you were only 2 whenever your dad first joined here.
Yeah.
Do you remember feeling like your dad was a superstar when you got a little bit older?
I remember that when we used to leave the stadium, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like now when they leave and it's all gated into the car park and things like that. We literally used to walk out the director's entrance, didn't we, straight into the Munich tunnel, and you would get mobbed.
Yeah,
and that's when we were quite small and get squashed quite a lot. I remember that. And then also things like we couldn't ever go to like Alton Towers and things like that. Do you know, because we just couldn't get anywhere, or Blackpool Pleasure Beach and things. We couldn't really do that.
You don't ever consider it. Like, I suppose I'm sat here in a unique position, aren't I? Because you probably have the same thing when you're out and about with Johnny. You probably have the same thing, you know, when you were out and about with your dad. I've never sort of experienced that. Never even thought that it would be a problem to nip to the supermarket or to go to Alton Towers or to, you know, wherever it might be and get absolutely mobbed. Did you feel like you missed out maybe on being able to do those things, or did you not mind because of everything else that was going on?
No, definitely didn't feel like we missed out because, to be honest, you used to take us to America, didn't you? A lot in those days. Because football wasn't as big in America then, so people didn't really know who you were, did they? So it was just normal to walk the streets, to go to Disneyland, to do things like that and just have a normal family holiday.
You know, when
so we were lucky in that way.
Disney World, when our Claire mentions that, it wasn't sort of British people. The only people who'd recognise you, people who'd been on holiday from Asia.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people would be in Disney World from Asia, and they'd stop you, want a photo or want an autograph. So it just shows, you know, the fans that we've got all around the world.
Incredible.
And obviously you've got a sister and a brother.
Yep.
Was your dad the type to be out playing football with you in the back garden?
Not with us, not with me and my sister, because to be honest, we weren't interested. But my brother...
I'm glad you're interested now.
My brother, it's a shame me and my brother weren't the other way around, really, because Ben would have probably got more enjoyment out of it. But yeah, you spend a lot of time with Ben, didn't you? And now you play with the grandkids a lot as well.
Yeah, the grandsons.
The boys are always
into
in.
it.
Yeah. So you like to go and watch him, don't
Drive
you?
me crazy though, because he wants to play football with me, but then I can't walk for a couple of days when I play with him.
Scared about doing your hamstring?
Yeah, well, it's not that, it's the joints where you've had injuries. So my ankles just stiffen up so much, like when I play with him.
Yeah.
But he enjoys it so much. You know, and he's playing now. And so I like going across to watch him play and how he develops. So he's doing okay, but, well, I better not say that. I'm not quite sure whether he'd make it as a professional, but he loves it, and that's what's important to me. He just loves being with his teammates and, you know, enjoying his football.
A new generation of Robsons. I love that. And I know you'd said about being in the crash maybe on a match day, and you had a real close-knit little United family back then. I know you were very close to the Bruces, the Pallisters. What are your memories of that? Because I know we've heard Alex Bruce talk about those times and Casper Schmeichel. But
Casper Schmeichel.
Yeah, what are your memories?
Was wild. Casper was wild,
Used to
wasn't
beat
he?
them all up.
Just used to beat us all up. Yeah, he was crazy. Just remember being like headlocks and things from Casper. Yeah, it was nice. It was good. We were all really close.
Yeah.
We used to spend a lot of time together, where even if it wasn't at the club, didn't we? We used to spend a lot of time at each other's houses.
So did you all live close? Were you all down Robins Lane at that point?
We were always Hale.
In Hale.
Yeah, but the Bruces and the Schmeichels, was it Audley Edge?
They were in Bramall, they were on Robins Lane in Bramall. I'm sure they were. I've spoken to Alex about this. Yeah, not too far away from where I am now.
So we weren't far. And then it's nice because we're still very close to all the Bruces now, which is great. Like our kids, like the grandkids are at the same school together now, aren't they? Yeah. And stuff like that. So even the grandkids are really close.
Could you imagine being neighbour to Schmeichs? I had enough of them at the training ground, never mind living next door
How
to
long
him.
did Steve...
Brucey's always
How long did they
been a
live
brave
next to each
man.
other for? That was quite a few years they lived next to each other, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would say it was probably about about 4 years.
He obviously had more patience than what you did then, Bryan. Steve
Yeah.
Bruce. So those were the days of growing up. And for you as a dad, Bryan, you must have been so proud bringing the kids onto the pitch. And as you say, cup finals. What when you reflect on those moments, that must have been one of the most special moments of your career, being able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best moments for me was when I had the testimonial and the girls were dressed up in the kit, and then they went on the pitch with me before the game, and then after the game they came on. We got some great photos. So that was a great time for us. But also because, you know, it was 10 years at United, you know, and the Celtic fans were brilliant, made it a great atmosphere. So that was a special moment. But yeah, there's nothing better than the kids going to a cup final, you know, with all the family.
Mm-hmm.
So those are special moments that you never forget.
And obviously for you, Claire, we talked about, you know, Bruce's, the Palisters, and you were close to those. But those people like Eric Cantona and all those, they were just normal to you?
Yeah.
They were just
Yeah.
normal people. Did your friends,
Just
do you remember
dad's
your
mates.
friends at school? Yeah. Do you remember your friends at school thinking that was, you know, that was a little bit different?
Not really, to be honest. I think kids don't recognise, like smaller kids
Yeah.
don't recognise it as much. And I think like social media now makes it all more real to children, and they have a better understanding of it and more acknowledgement of everything. Whereas when we were younger, there was no social media. It wasn't in your face constantly, was it? So I think it would be harder now growing up in that world than what it was when we were younger, to be honest.
I was thinking about this the other day. It's the saturation, I think, isn't it, of the media that's crazy. You'd be more worried, I would imagine, when you were playing, Bryan, about what they were saying in the papers on a Sunday morning. But I'm not sure anybody picks up a paper anymore. I think it's just that everywhere you look, all of the time, whether it's rolling news channels on the telly or it's on your mobile phone. And I can't imagine what that must be like for players with young kids now, and it just being constant and all the time. It must be so hard.
Yeah, there's no escape from it.
Yeah,
is
to
there?
be fair, I never used to read the papers. Not before, a couple of days before a game. I wouldn't look at the newspapers because you weren't really interested in what they were saying because you're just concentrating on your own game. You know, so that's how I used to take the media.
I'd have been a nightmare. I'd have looked at my player ratings the day after a game, and I'd have been straight on the phone going, "Hang on a second, why have you given me a 4 here?" Not that you ever got a 4.
Mine was always 8.
Nothing less than an 8 over in a corner.
And obviously you had managers which they said don't read the papers. That was very much advised back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to look at people being negative and hammering you because they don't think you're a good player, then I think that knocks your confidence and you probably don't perform as well as when you're confident, you know, and you're playing with your teammates who are all getting the same. You know, so it never really affected me because you just enjoy playing football so much that you just go out, enjoy the game, but obviously you try to win.
Claire, just still going back to the childhood, and this leads us into the conversation about your job now, because you relocated a couple of times as a family. Do you remember that having a big impact on you as a child?
I don't remember when we first moved up just because I was so young.
Yeah.
So then moving from Manchester. Originally we didn't move up to Middlesbrough, did we? When
No,
you
the
first relocated there.
First 2 years I just travelled up and back.
Did you travel in that half and half kit?
I'm so glad that you brought this up because I wasn't. But that,
Is that going to be fitted into this?
We're
interview
definitely
now?
showing a picture of that.
please, if
Just
you
for
don't-
any younger people who don't remember that.
If you're not watching this and you're listening to this wherever you get your podcasts from, what we're talking about is your announcement photograph at Middlesbrough when you signed as player manager, and
Good memory.
the top half of you is in a suit, shirt and tie,
Yeah.
and the bottom half is in short socks and boots to sort of show that you'd signed as the player manager. Who talked you into that, Bryan?
There was a commercial manager up there, but Steve Gibson, the owner, was there. And I said to him, look, we've signed the contract, but if I do this, I want £5,000 more on my weekly wage. I didn't really.
And that photo's never been recreated since by any player manager. But it's an iconic one.
I love
Yeah,
it.
so that tells you
Absolutely love
something.
it.
Sorry, Claire, yeah, back to relocating. So you obviously remember when you did make the move to Middlesbrough
Yeah.
after the couple of years.
Yeah, so we were older. I think it probably had the largest impact on my brother because myself and my sister could have stayed in Manchester. My sister did actually stay in Manchester just because she was older and at college, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So really the biggest impact was on my brother moving because of school years. Yeah.
I think
But
people don't realise
I think when we moved there as well, all of Dad's family are from Newcastle,
Yeah.
so it's not too far. So it was all quite familiar anyway. It wasn't like we were moving somewhere we weren't familiar with in the first place.
Did you stay in Teesside, or did you were you in the middle of the two, in between Newcastle and Middlesbrough?
Yarm.
Which is right
Yeah.
next to
Beautiful, yeah.
Middlesbrough.
Yeah,
That's
lovely
where Gary
little village.
Pallister lives, actually, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were there, and it's nice, Yarm, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, our Ben, for him, it was a bit different because he went to Yarm Grammar and they only did rugby. They didn't do football, so he wasn't happy about that.
Does he
Yes.
still like rugby, though? Does he
No.
like rugby now? No.
No, football.
No.
Yeah.
He's definitely
Scarred him.
football.
It's too rough for him.
So Claire, fast forward a little bit for you, and obviously I've mentioned there about players relocating and how difficult that can be, but
Yeah.
I suppose rewind a little bit to tell us about when you first joined the club, because that wasn't actually in the current role that you're in now. And funny enough, off camera you were just telling us that the interview process
Was quite
to get the
large.
job was quite grueling, and actually one of the people that interviewed you was Sir Alex Ferguson, which blows
That was
my
my
mind.
final interview, yeah. He had the final decision on if I got the role or not. So
And
I-
what was the role back then?
Yeah, so I originally came in to work with the commercial team, and my role was to manage all of the ex-players when they had to do commercial appearances for the sponsors. That was what I originally came in to do. That expanded then onto players when players do their player appearances, which is why Sir Alex had more of an oversight as to who was getting the role because I was so close to them. I also did watch team training for the sponsors and looked after all the signed merchandise. So I was doing signing sessions and everything. So that was my original role, which I did for 10 years.
I wonder whether you can explain what it's like going into a final job interview with Sir Alex Ferguson on the other side of the table.
It was quite informal. It was more just a cup of tea, really. And just, he was basically telling me what I would and wouldn't do. Or basically what I wouldn't be doing. Yeah, but I obviously knew him already as well, so it wasn't quite as daunting. It wasn't like I was just coming in and stuck in front of someone that I'd never met,
Yeah.
that's got the reputation that he's got. So it was okay.
It was quite funny when you asked before, when our Claire started going out into town, now Charlotte, Giggsy and Scholesy and Butty and all them. Sharpie, they'd all be in town out, and I used to go to them. If you see my daughters, you make sure you look after them. And they always did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
The power of being captain of Manchester United. Right, you two, behave yourselves and
I
look
actually
after
thought
them.
you were going to say Sir Alex seen them on a night out in Manchester at one stage. I
That
thought
would be
that's what
quite scary.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be unusual back then, would it?
No.
That's
No,
what I
no.
thought you were actually going to say. So that was your first role at the club.
Yeah.
And what did you do before that? What was your previous experience?
I was actually working for you, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Dad had a company called Robson Lloyd that was all about grassroots development. So we were looking at lower league clubs and how we could improve them to help them build up the grassroots football and help them bring in some more funding with the local councils on whether it was redeveloping the land or putting in leisure centres or different programmes that we could build with them to help them and their funding, basically.
Have you always sort of that route, that relationship management, the looking after, being able to have conversations with party A and dealing with party, has that always been something that you've been good at?
I never really knew what I wanted to do, is my honest answer. Didn't know, but that does come quite naturally. Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing for me to do. I do find it easy to just chat to people. and to help. I like helping people, so this is actually the perfect role now. That face. That was so sarky.
My other daughter, Charlotte, she lives in Australia and she's been there 17 years. And she's trained racehorses ever since she went there. And it's something she loved, didn't she?
Yeah.
Has Sir Alex been out to see those racehorses?
Melbourne. The Melbourne Cup.
Melbourne Cup,
Big
didn't he?
race.
Yeah.
but-
See, all those games that she missed on Saturdays was all worth it in the end.
Yeah. And you've got to remember that when Sir Alex came from Aberdeen, he banned me from going racing.
Really?
Yeah.
But he was going himself?
No, he wasn't into racing then.
Oh,
but
right.
That's why, and now he likes a glass of red wine. So he said I couldn't go racing, and he wanted me to cut down drinking. And now he loves a glass of red wine, and he goes racing all the time.
And you go together.
Yeah.
Now we do.
So is that something you've always been into, horse racing?
Yeah, well, when I was at West Brom, the lads, as a bonding day, we always used to go to Worcester races, which was just down the road from West Brom. And so that's how I got into it.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing that ever happened, I had this horse called Tailor Made Boy, which was the first horse I'd owned. And it won 13 races. It's not good because it gets you right into it, and you start having more horses and more horses. And then you're skint.
Do you have any now?
No.
You've not had any for a while, have you?
No, about
Portahelli
12
was the last one, wasn't
12
it?
years ago.
Yeah.
It was the last time I owned one.
So does your love of horses come from your dad then?
My mum. Yeah, my mum always had horses when she was younger. So when we were little, that's when we first started horse riding. And then me and my sister always had horses then, growing up, until I got a car, and a car was faster than a horse.
Yeah.
And then it was by horse.
Doesn't need feeding either.
No, it was much easier to look after.
Yeah, but the wife used to do show jumping.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Denise? No way,
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, she loved it. So she always had horses, didn't she, when she was younger, jumping horses?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
There you go.
Inside Carrington is brought to you by United Store. From the latest product ranges to gifts for the whole family, you can find it all at United Store.
So yeah, Claire, you did that first role for 10 years.
Yep.
And then that has moved on to the role that you're in now. Probably a role that a lot of people don't realise exists, but probably also don't realise how important it is. And obviously I've been on both sides of that, and the incredible work that your team do, especially for players coming to the club, relocating. I mean, sometimes that could be a week's notice that a player is coming to a new country with their family. It could be a day's notice. People probably don't realise behind the scenes how difficult that is. And I have to say, your team is absolutely incredible. And I'm not just saying that because you are here. That is really genuinely true. But tell everybody who is listening or watching what your job entails.
So I'm the head of player support. In the team, we have 4 of us, and then also we have maintenance and we have property as well. So my overall role is anything that is not football related that can affect performance. So a basic onboarding program would be that a player would fly in. I'd then go meet them at the airport. We could get a few hours notice. We could get 48 hours notice. We'd then just chat to them, bring them to the training ground for the medicals, chat to them about what they require, what their family requirements are, if they're by themselves, if they have children. And then overall, we basically help them find their houses, any help that they need, schools, cars, set up their bills, taught them through how even a payslip works because it's so different from country to country, set up bank accounts, literally anything in their personal life that they may not have an understanding of or where they just need support.
You don't ever think about it, do you? And as a layperson, as somebody that has been a football fan his whole life but doesn't actually think about the mechanics behind it all, you go to a brand new country. I would have no idea if I moved to wherever how I was going to set up a bank account, where I would go to pay my rent or my mortgage, or all of that is.
And the school system's so different from country to country as well. So obviously our children start in the UK from the age of, they have to be in legally from 5, whereas a lot of countries are 6 and 7. So it's even that. So people might come in with a 5-year-old and not realise their child has to go to school. So it's
crazy.
There's a lot. It's because it's a culture thing as well.
Yeah.
And then we try to help them find people within their own cultures and their own interests, and we try to introduce all the wives and families and children. We hold family events when people first arrive, so that they can get to know each other, so they can try and build that bond and things like that. We do everything down to their security, everything.
I think it's brilliant to have a team that think about this kind of stuff, because I'm not sure the normal fan would have a clue that it was required in the first place. I quite like the fact that it's not just the nuts and bolts, it's the social bits and pieces as well, to try and get them as comfortable as you can.
Yeah.
Is there more? So I'm thinking about young players that maybe haven't got a family, that are coming on their own, that maybe don't know how to, go where they go to get their food, or how they, get stuff in. Is all of that involved as well?
Yeah, all of that. Yeah, so when they decide what area they're going to move to, we can show them where the local Sainsbury's is or Tesco's. It's literally anything.
Fascinating.
And I suppose back in the day, Bryan, there wasn't so much of a need of that. There wasn't as many foreign players. But if a foreign player did come to the club, what was the process? Did you take that on as a captain to look after a player and their family and show them?
Yeah, you'd advise them. But like you say, Helen, when I went to West Brom, you just had to organise yourself, because the club had nothing like that in place. And even when I first come to United, they didn't really have anything in place. So you and your wife had to sort yourselves out, like our Claire's saying, like with schools, settling in period and all that. Well, I can always remember, and I don't know why I did it, but probably because I had the confidence of sort of being record by. So when Martin Edwards gave me the contract, I just said to him, there's just one more thing. I want the club to buy me house down in West Brom, so then I can move up here quicker. And he went, no. And I said, well, I'm not signing a contract then. I says, and you don't think it's important for me to settle in the area straight away? And so anyway, the chairman said, I'll think about it. And fortunately for me, he said, yeah, as long as we get a few estate agents giving the club a price. And so I think that was the first time United bought a player's house. So then I could move up to the area straight away and didn't have the house down at West Brom.
So you were effectively the start of player care?
Maybe.
Yeah, but they've
You
never
put the
paid,
foundations in place, Bryan.
They've never paid me for that role.
But when you did have, for example, a Peter Schmeichel coming in or an Eric Cantona, I've heard those players say how, the captain would take it upon themselves, or, other players would show them the skills. Did you enjoy doing that role? And particularly Denise, did she take on that role? And do you remember that, Claire, as well?
I remember Mum having a lot of involvement around the different events that we did, or the charity work. I remember that, like Christmas. I remember that our dining room was always full of Christmas presents for local kids and things, wasn't it?
Yeah, because
everyone would do. She'd go and do it
yeah.
on behalf of the players and the players' families, for the local hospitals or underprivileged kids. So I remember that, because we used to have conveyor belts of wrapping paper, didn't we, going on in the dining room. That'd be my main memory of it, yeah.
Yeah, so you had all that. But then Denise and Janet Bruce, they were really good at, the club would say they want to buy the children of the players presents for Christmas. And so Jan and Denise quite enjoyed going out and spending all the money and getting the kids' toys. But it was the wrapping up which did the heads in. They'd be there for hours, like just wrapping all these presents up. And then we'd have a party and get a Father Christmas there. And the kids used to love it.
I think that helps with my role, because I remember those memories are so fond that I just remember we always just had fun there. So I love when we have to do when we get to do those family events, because I think it's such a good bonding for the families and for the players and for everyone. And even when players get involved that don't have the children, because they do, they still come along. It's just a club player-wide thing. And also the first team staff as well that are with the players all the time and their families, because they spend so much time together. And you talk about your own children and your own partners and your own lives, but then it's nice to actually be involved and get to meet those people as well.
But you have enormous job satisfaction, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I love it. I like when a plan comes together. And when you know that a family's happy and it's nice if they know that they've got somewhere to go and someone that they trust. So anything that they need, really, we can point them in the right direction of.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about those social events, which obviously myself and my family have been part of, people probably don't realise how important that is, as you say.
Yeah.
Like, Brian, back in your day, there wasn't social media as much. You know, you all used to go to the pub on a Saturday, didn't you, as families after the game. Life is very different for footballers now. They can't really do that as much as what they could have. And that team bonding and family bonding. And really, sometimes when you organise that is the only way for families to come together and meet together and really get to know people who are in the same position as them and how important that is.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not necessarily that you're going to be around together all the time and bump into each other at games and things. People have their own boxes, they have their own lounges that they go to. Although we have the players' lounge, it's not everybody utilises the players' lounge. Sometimes it's just after the game. So it just gives you that time to spend together, which is great.
And how supportive are Manchester United as a club at really recognising how important that is to have that player care department?
I personally feel that they're really supportive, and they've kind of embraced it, which is great, and just let us carry on. At the end, it does ultimately help the players settle in.
Yeah,
it helps their whole life in terms of settling in at home, being able to go back somewhere where there's no issues. We always say happy wife, happy life as well.
Very true.
As we're all aware.
That is very true.
We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Brian, when you look at what Claire's achieved and what she does, how proud are you?
I know I'm really proud of her because I know how players can be. But the boys are really good and they trust you. And that's the main thing for the players. They know that they're there and you can trust them no matter what they're trying to help you with. You know, and she does a great job at it. And she enjoys the role, which is really important when you're in a job.
Yeah.
You must get some funny requests sometimes, Claire.
I have some. To be honest, it was more like that in the past, where a lot of shopping requests would come in.
What kind of clothes shopping? Or?
Clothes shopping, handbags. Birthday and Christmas present requests come in.
Can I just verify this was never the Evans family, was it, Claire?
It wasn't ever the Evans family.
Could have thrown her under the bus there. You definitely could have just
it wasn't ever the Evans family.
Before we move on, I have got one completely random question. So obviously, players tend to gather in similar areas, so you've got a little bit of a support network. Why on earth did Eric Cantona end up in Boothstown? Now, there's nothing wrong with Boothstown. It's just not a hotbed of, Manchester United footballers.
Well, the only other person who lived over that side who was in the first team at that time was Giggsy. So he was over Worsley way. But then all the other lads, Wimslow, Bramall, nearly all of them went there, apart from a couple of us who lived in Hale.
But whose job would it have been to say, right, Eric, there's a house there? Whose job would that have been back then, or was that just on him?
Well, with myself.
So you told him to move to Boothstown, basically?
As far away from me as you can get, Eric.
I know I got on well with Eric. But, when I came up, the estate agent, after training, would take me around all these different areas, and he took me up to Wimslow, Bramall, Alderley Edge, and then I'd go back to the training ground. He showed me around the area, and then because Denise was still down at West Brom, I'd drive around the areas myself, and then I sort of went through Hale Barnes, Hale, Bowden, which was a lot closer to the Cliff training ground, and there were some beautiful houses there. And so when my wife came up, I used to go to her, right, I've been in these areas, and I come and have a look at these rather than Winslow and everything, which you've seen. And that's why we decided to go into Hill, because it was so much closer to the training ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
And it must be interesting for you, Claire, when you reflect back on those times and how football has changed so much that it does have the support network. You've said you've got a team of 4, amongst others. I mean, football has just moved on so much since then.
Yeah, it has. It really has. And it's the connections as well outside. So when Dad's talking about the estate agents, we have numerous agents that we work with, estate agents. We're not just tied to one. And there's houses everywhere, trying to find off-market houses. The areas are different slightly now. There's a lot, because obviously of where the training ground is now, the majority are Bowden and Hale.
Mm-hmm.
But then you do have players that are over in Wilmslow and Audley as well. But that is now further away than Carrington.
Of course.
And overall, what's it like working with your dad? Because you do see him quite regularly.
I do see him quite regularly. It's easy. At first it was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It
definitely.
was, yeah, at first. But now it's just normal, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, it was difficult. Your daughter telling you off like your wife.
Yeah, what I suppose, because I managed your diary, didn't I, when I first started?
Yeah. And especially with club work.
Yeah, first pre-season tour was quite odd
Yeah.
as well, because you were used to doing them without me.
Yeah.
And then I was there driving him insane.
And Dennis.
And Dennis, yeah.
Well, as I said, Claire, you guys do an absolutely incredible job, and the club are very, very lucky to have you here doing that.
Yeah, from being a manager, the thing is, Helen, as a manager, you want all the players and the families to be really happy.
Yeah.
Because then they'll perform better, because they haven't got any worries. And that's why it's really important, you know, what our Claire and the people who work with her, what they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think about it, a player's just moved to a new country. He's thinking, my wife's at home. She doesn't know anyone. The kids aren't in a school yet. She's got 3 kids at home. Like, those situations must be very stressful for a player.
Exactly. It takes the concentration off performance.
Yeah.
So the idea of the team is to try and take all that extra stress away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Inside Carrington is presented by United Store. Shop all the latest drops of official club merchandise and product ranges only at United Store. 100% official, 100% United.
Before we do move on and talk a little bit about the current football, Bryan, we thought we would do a little quickfire to see how well you know Claire. Did you know this was coming?
No, I didn't.
So we have asked Claire the answers, and she has obviously told us. But let's see if you know the answers. It's like a Mr. and Mrs., but daughter and father. So the first one, I'll go with the easy one, Bryan. What is Claire's date of birth?
Hold on, I've got to count it. I know it's the 17th.
I maybe don't give the year.
Yeah.
Maybe just the day and the month.
You thinking so? You
Ninth.
saved my age.
There you go. 17th of the 9th.
Yes.
Nice.
That's only because our Ben was born in the same month.
Charming.
Thanks.
And then our Charlotte was born in World Cup year, so I can remember that was 1982. And so I work back and I go, well, Claire was like 2 years older, and so it's 1980. There you go.
What I love about this is it's exactly the way that I keep track of dates is major footballing events. It's funny. What was the name of Claire's first pet?
First one. The same name as the horse, which I think, which was, I can't remember the horse's name.
Can I give you a clue? It wasn't a horse.
The first pet wasn't a horse.
The dog.
We never had a dog.
All right. You've got a dog now.
No, we never had a dog.
I'll give you a clue.
Oh, no, you
hamster.
mean, I thought yours, no, when When she was little, yeah, I'm thinking since she's been
Right,
by herself.
okay.
in the
Oh,
house.
sorry.
that's fair.
Sorry.
That's fair
Weren't
enough.
clear enough with the
Yeah.
question.
What was the first family pet that Claire had?
Hamster.
Hamster. And what was its name?
Hamster.
It was Poppy.
Yeah, Poppy. Although we would have given you Coco, which was the cat.
Yeah, I remember that cat stray that Mum bought
Coco
him.
is her dog now, so
It is.
I know that.
Oh, you've called it the same name? Oh, cute.
Yeah.
What was Claire's favourite subject at school?
Well, she was hopeless at all the academic ones, so it's got to be PE.
How many attempts did it take Claire to pass her driving test?
Yeah, 2.
No. Pass on my first
I
test.
thought I was the only one who did the first
No.
time. Everybody else was 2.
I was
Are
first
you
time.
lying?
No,
Are you lying?
first time.
Well, she had a good driving
instructor.
instructor.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you teach her how to drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, and our Charlotte.
Come on.
But the first thing I used to say to them, right, you argue with me and I'm not taking you out anymore.
Yeah.
So you do what I tell you or I'm not doing it again. And so to be fair, they were really good.
I love my dad, all right, but there is absolutely no chance he was teaching me how to drive. We would have come to blows, I think.
Oh, you were really patient with us, to be honest.
I'm patient
Yeah, you are patient.
all the time.
Yeah, you are patient.
It was probably more of a me problem than my dad problem, to be fair, at that stage.
Well, the thing is, a driving instructor has the dual pedals,
Yeah,
don't they?
much safer.
Not in my car.
That's what I mean. Bit of a risk, but listen,
The
it works.
imaginary brakes.
What is Claire's favourite holiday destination?
I know this now because she's only just been there. Maldives.
Maldives.
The actual answer was Maldives as of last week. Which,
Yes.
So you got your finger on the pulse there, Brian. Claire's favourite movie?
Pretty Woman.
He's nailed it.
Well done, Brian.
I know that because of one thing. I'll tell you later otherwise.
Right, okay. It's
There
not
was-
related to a match, is it?
There was one other on there. I wonder whether you could get the other one.
Great movie, by the way. Haven't
Oh,
watched
it's a
that in
goodie,
years.
isn't
It's a tearjerker.
Gladiator.
No, that's yours. Definitely
I've
not
only
two.
watched that 100 times.
Is that your
Beaches,
favourite
yeah.
movie? Gladiator?
I love Gladiator.
I've never seen Gladiator.
Great film. Great
don't watch
film.
that.
Very different to Beaches.
Yeah, very different.
Bette Midler.
Very.
Bette Midler.
Oh, yeah,
In
Beaches
Beaches.
is a great film.
I've never seen that. That's too soppy for me.
Which 3 people, dead or alive, would Claire choose to have dinner with?
Wow.
And then I'm going to ask you yours.
Julia Roberts.
He's one.
And after that,
No idea.
me and Denise.
Oh, well, that would be a nice
That
combination.
would be a nice combo.
It is David Attenborough and Marilyn Monroe.
I would never have got that.
Who would your 3 be, Brian? 3 dream dinner guests, dead or alive?
Dead or alive. I've got to say Muhammad Ali.
Great job.
The Queen. And
They don't all have to be dead.
both of them dead.
You can choose someone alive if you want.
The Queen was actually on my list as well, and I was tossing between.
I've got to do this a bit quicker.
It's fine, don't worry.
It's Pele.
Yeah. Watch out.
Who would yours be, Liam? Whilst we're on the topic.
This is so hard. It changes on a day to day. I would love to have dinner with Eric Cantona. I would love to have dinner with. This is a random one, but Jeremy Clarkson. Just because such an opinionated man that I think he'd get the conversation started. I think that'd be brilliant. The last one's really hard. I don't. This is so difficult. David Attenborough's a really good shout. It's a really good shout. Yeah, do you know what? I'll take your idea and I'll run with it.
Go for
The
it.
irony is that, Brian, you would be on the list of so many people
Yeah.
who were asked that question.
Who are yours, Helen?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I thought I've just asked
You're
Liam
coming
and
after
now
my
he's
job.
going to ask me.
I avoided it.
I knew you were avoiding it yourself.
Well, I saw that you were avoiding it. I didn't want to put you on the spot, and Claire's
I
absolutely
don't
hammered
know.
you.
I'd have to think about that one. Sorry, I've put you guys in the spot and I don't know. But yeah, Brian, you would be on the list of so many people, which...
The good.
And they would have the best dinner ever with you.
Can I change my
company.
middle one?
Yeah.
Can I, Sir Alex Ferguson? Can I?
I was
Yeah,
thinking
sorry.
like that
Yeah,
someone
I
would
wasn't.
say Sir
I
Alex.
wasn't
I was going to say
thinking.
Sir
I
Alex.
see, but all
cliche.
the ones you've said, I've already had dinner with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's the best person you've had dinner with, actually?
Sir Alex.
Yeah.
I know we're going to move on in a minute. I'm going to interrupt again because I've got Bryan Robson on the sofa with me. The best footballer that you've seen, either in person or on television?
It's difficult because there's been great players all around the world. Maradona, Zico, people like that. But I've got to say, when I watched them on TV in the World Cups and everything, Pelé.
Yeah. It's so hard to disagree with that, with the goals that he scored. And
I mean, he's got a pretty good list there.
yes, not bad
Yeah,
at
I
all.
think it was about 1,000 for Santos. It was 1,007 in 1,000 games.
Absolutely unbelievable. Unreal.
And the best player you've played with is Gaza.
Yeah.
But what about for Manchester United?
You're putting me on the spot now.
Sorry, Brian.
Because there's some great players who's played for United, but just for the longevity and how much he won at Giggsy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wonderful tale about Ryan Giggs, and I'd love to know whether it's true, about him coming into the side early in his career, and he's getting a bit of a kick in out on the left hand side, and you going over to him and going, just swap with me for 5 minutes. So he comes inside, you go out to the left hand side, and basically explain politely to the right winger that he needs to leave Ryan Giggs alone, and then swap him back and Giggsy being all right for the rest of the game. You stick a boot in there, Robbo,
No,
did you?
I never said that. No, we did. It was a right back, and he was kicking lumps out of Giggsy, and so I said to Giggsy, "Are you okay?" And he said to me that he's going to break my leg, and I went, "Just go into the centre of midfield for a little while." And I purposely got the ball, overrun it, went right over the top, and he was down. The physio come on, and I went, "You better leave him alone, otherwise I'll come across and do it again." And so then he was fine.
I love that. Looking after your teammates. It's
But
brilliant.
that was when you could get away with it.
But I mean, to be fair, we saw Harry Maguire do this against Everton on that Monday night, where Lenny Yoro gets bundled into the back of the net by James Tarkowski, and Harry Maguire is right there, and he does exactly the same thing to James Tarkowski. It might not be going over the top of the ball. It's exactly the same premise. It's looking after those around you. It's such an important thing for a leader to do on the pitch, and yeah.
And that's why so many ex-players say you were the best
Yep.
captain ever, Brian, because
Well,
you did.
because I could kick people.
Well, no, we like to say you looked after them. And as Liam says, fast forwarding to currently, obviously you've mentioned the Everton game, but Michael Carrick is someone that you know very well. And I just want to know what you've made of the beginning he's had here at Manchester United.
No, Michael's done great, because at United, when he's been interim manager, he's had 8 wins and 2 draws. When you look at the last time he beat Villarreal 2-0 away from home in Europe, came back, drew with Chelsea at Chelsea, who were flying at the time, and then he beat Arsenal at Old Trafford. And now we all see what he's doing now. Did it quite simply, but it's only because he's got a great football brain. Goes back to a back 4 because the back 3 was not suiting the boys. Put Luke back to left back, where it's his favourite position. Put Cobby back into midfield, a young lad with great ability, and he was only out of the team because he got a bit rusty when he had the injury. So he's done that. Balance of the team is good, and the results show that. So Michael's done a great job so far, and I hope he keeps doing it this season, and I hope he achieves to get us into the Champions League, and then he's done a fantastic job, but he's doing great at the moment.
I know that you're going out to watch training after you've finished with us here. I wonder, when you've watched training at any stage this season, whether there's been anything or anyone in particular that's impressed you while you've been out there watching?
No, well, I didn't come in until Michael's took over. I come in because I enjoy watching the boys train. I love to pick up on the coaches and the differences of what coaches do. But then I like to see the mood of the players. And, you know, I've always got an opinion, but I would never say anything to anybody. But I like it. And if the players are happy, you can see in training. And whether they're sharp and whether you pick up on that. And if they're not sharp, then it's up to the manager and the coaches to say, hey, sharpen up, you're being a bit lazy and all. And Sir Alex was ruthless with that. That if you were slack in training, lazy in training, he'd stop the session and he'd go, I'll see you all this afternoon. He says, because I'm not putting up with laziness. And so whoever he was pointing at, lads, it's
got to be Pally.
Hammered.
It's got to be Pally, isn't it?
I tell you what, you're right. Pally and Incy, they were the worst too. Them two, and they were great players on the pitch.
Yeah.
But training, they were a nightmare.
If you could choose one of this squad to play on one of your teams, who would that be?
Yeah, it's, when he was a bit younger, I'd say Casemiro. I would like to play with him. I think he's got a great football brain. He's tough. He's good in the air. Great passer of the ball, but knows the game. You know, and that's why he was at Real Madrid and won as much as he did at Real Madrid. I wish he was 5 years younger playing for this club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been exceptional this season, Casemiro. He's been such a joy to watch. And even more so once he's got a little bit of cover alongside him. So now you see a two-player midfield essentially with him and Kobbie Mainoo, and he hasn't quite got to cover as much ground as he was having to cover in the beginning part of the season. We're seeing the real abilities of Casemiro, a player known for that destructive tackling while he was at Real Madrid, and actually what we've got is a player that's capable of playing incredibly progressive passing balls through midfield. It's so good to watch, and he's been a real standout for me this season, Casemiro.
Guys, we'll let you go to training. I didn't realise you were going to training after this, Bryan. I would have kept asking you questions. But have you enjoyed being on together, having a little chat?
Yeah, it's been good.
It's been different.
Just say yes, Bryan, you've loved it. When we talk about Inside Carrington, this really is Inside Carrington. This is behind the scenes. We've got Claire here who works behind the scenes. People might not know your job. And of course, we've got Bryan, our greatest ever captain. I mean, you wish we wouldn't get this anywhere else, Liam, would you?
No, absolutely not. And I was saying before we started that if 8-year-old me or 7-year-old me, if somebody had said one day you'll be interviewing Bryan Robson on a sofa at Manchester United's training ground, I think he would have cried in excitement. So the little kid inside me has had a very, very nice day.
Do you know what? I actually don't know whether I've told you this, but when I moved over here to get the job, the only thing my dad said to me was, get Bryan Robson's autograph. And do you know what? I've known you for 16 years. I still don't think I've got that. Maybe today's the day, but that's the only thing he said whenever I moved over to get the job.
No, if it's took you 16 years, you're not missing it.
I'll have to get one from you, Bryan. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Claire, thank you so much for giving us an insight into what goes on behind the scenes and all the work that you do. And Bryan, thank you for joining us as always.
Pleasure.
And thank you, Liam.
Thank you, as always.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll be back again next week.
Certainly
And don't
will.
forget, if you are enjoying these podcasts, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we really do appreciate it. And do keep your comments coming in, because we do read them all. And hopefully we have lots after this one, Claire and Bryan. We'll see you again next week on Inside Carrington. Have a good one. Bye-bye.